A pleasant good morning to the Honorable John Briceño, Prime Minister of Belize, his ministers, ministers of state, to the Honorable Tracy Panton, Leader of the Opposition and members on her side of the House, and to you, Madam Speaker. Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, through Jesus Christ, who has revealed your glory to all nations, please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom, and justice, please assist our Belizean government and the people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our objective. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may preserve in union and in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessing of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to your eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen and amen.
Announcement by the Speaker.
Good morning, honorable members.
Morning.
First, we extend a appreciation to Pastor Shaw for the prayers. I'm also obliged to notify members that we've received absences from the following members: member for Belize Rural North, member for Belize Rural South, member for Orange Walk South, member for Orange Walk East, member for Queen Square, and member for Cayo West. I'd also like to take a brief moment to notify members that we, as you can see, are still meeting in the temporary location of the House of Representatives. We have experienced a few delays. It's about a 3-month delay. Therefore, we anticipate that the first regular business sitting in the new year of 2026 should be in the newly renovated National Assembly. I take the opportunity to extend appreciation to the board, management, and staff of the George Price Center, who have been more than accommodating to us with the delays. Honorable members, with the consent of the House, I propose to vary the order of the sitting today to allow the introduction of bills at item 12 on the order paper to be taken after the Committee of Supply at item 14. This is to allow the introduction of the General Revenue Supplementary Appropriation 2024-2025 number 2 Bill 2025 and the General Revenue Supplementary Appropriation 2025-2026 Bill 2025, which, according to Standing Orders 71 of the House, cannot be introduced until the proposals have been approved by the Committee of Supply and agreed to by the House. I therefore propose that the House resolve into a Committee of Supply on the item Government Business. Is it the wish of the honorable members that the order be varied as suggested? All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Papers.
I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Investment and Economic Transformation, Civil Aviation and E-Governance.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. But before I start, we're so happy to see you back. and that you're looking in great form. Despite the scare, you look younger. You know? But we were very happy. But at the same time, I think it's important for me to put on the records of this honorable house all of us appreciation to the honorable member from Belize Rural North, Marconi Leal Jr. Despite young in age, I think he acted quite admirably during your time, during your absence. So again, I want to put our records of appreciation for the work that Mr. Honorable Leal did during that time. Madam Speaker, I rise to present and lay on the table sessional papers HR 33A114, the supplementary appropriation number 2, scheduled for fiscal year 2024-2025. HR 33B114, supplementary appropriation scheduled for fiscal year 2025-2026. HR 34114, Belize Government Lotteries Limited, Fui Bolido, financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2025. Madam Speaker, if you just allow me for one moment, Madam Speaker, I think it's important for us to inform not the Honorable Justice, Honorable House, but the entire country that this Bolido was given to a UDP crony for about 11 years. Monies that could have come to the coffers of this, the government and for the people of this country. But UDP decided to give it to a highly connected UDP crony, which we know his name. When they started a court case, that person even showed his face as an interested party. When all along he said that he had no interest, he's showing him. He showed his face as an interested party during that time, and the record is there to show. But we decided that this Bolido have to come back to the people. And so we took our time to ensure that, you know, there come the lawsuits and make sure that we do it properly. In the first few months of its operation in 2024, he did $5.8 million. At that time when they were paying, they started off with $2 million, and then the second contract, they took it up to $2.5 million. In the first 12 months of the financial operations of Fui Bolido, Madam Speaker, the revenues that we had was $123.2 million was sold. And we paid off $105 million back to the Belizean people. After expenses for the people of this country, this government took back the Bolido, and I take great pride to report that this first 12 months, April 2024 to March 2025, we earned $16,704,154. And I don't mention name over there, but we know who was the architect in making sure that the UDP crony get this. And I wonder if they give no money for the party, you know, because that's the line where they always use, you know, give it to me and we do it for the party. But I'm sure that they didn't get no kind of money enough for one party, not for the UDP party. It was all about. And you know what, Madam Speaker, from the revenues and the sales and so forth, what's going on right now, Fui Bolido is projected that by the end of March of next year, for this second year that we have a full year of operations, it is projected to have profits of way over $20 million, Madam Speaker. This was the gift that the other side said that they identified for Belize. This is the gift they gave to this crony, which was supposed to be for the party. So I had to mention this to put it in the records, Madam Speaker, and for the rest of the Belizean country, the Belizean all across this country, understand what these people did when they took away the Bolido from them and gave it to this individual. I now move to sessional paper 35-114, the Social Security Board Actuarial Performance Analysis of the Social Security Scheme at December 31st, 2023, HR 36-114, Social Security Board Financial Statements for the year ended 31st December 2023, and Independent Auditor's Report, HR 37-114, the General Sales Tax Amendment Number 2, Regulations 2024.
That should be 2025, just for the record, Madam Clerk. Honorable members, sessional papers numbers HR 33A/114 and HR 3B/114 are referred to the Committee of Supply for examination, consideration, and report. And sessional papers numbers HR 34114, HR 35/114, and HR 36/114, as well as HR 37/114 are ordered to lie on the table. I recognize the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Food Security and New Growth Industries.
Madam Speaker, I rise to present and lay on the table sessional paper number HR 37A/1/14, Supplies Control Prices Amendment number 33, Regulations 2025.
Honorable members, that paper is ordered to lie on the table. I recognize the Honorable Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, Solid Waste Management.
Madam Speaker, I rise to present and lay on the table sessional papers number HR 38/1/14, Refrigeration Technicians Licensing Regulations 2025, and number HR 39/1/14, Environmental Protection, the Ozone Layer Protection Regulations 2025.
Honorable members, those papers are ordered to lie on the table. I recognize the Honorable Minister of Constitution and Religious Affairs, Indigenous Affairs, and Transportation.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I rise to present and lay on the table sessional paper
I recognize the Honorable Minister of Constitution, Religious Affairs, Indigenous Affairs, and Transportation.
Good morning, Madam Speaker and colleagues. I rise to present and lay on the table sessional paper number HR 40/1/14, Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Regulation of Transport at Border Points, Revised Amendment Number 2, Regulations 2025. Thank you.
Honorable members, that paper is ordered to lie on the table.
Presentation of reports from select committees.
I recognize the Honorable Chairperson of the Constitution and Foreign Affairs Committee.
Good morning again, Madam Speaker. I rise to present and lay on the table sessional paper number HR 41/1/14, report from the Constitution and Foreign Affairs Committee on this will be a difficult one too, deoxyribonucleic acid bill. DNA bill, Madam Speaker, 2025. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, that report is ordered to lie on the table. I recognize the Honorable Chairperson of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee.
Morning, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to present this late to the table sessional paper number HR 42/1/14, report from the Natural Resources and Environment Committee on the Climate Change and Carbon Market Initiative Bill 2025.
Honorable members, that report is ordered to lie on the table.
Public Business, Government Business, Committee of Supply.
Honorable members, the House will now resolve into a committee of supply under the chair of the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Investment, Economic Transformation, Civil Aviation, and E-Governance. In accordance with Standing Order 65, the deliberations of this committee shall not take place in public. Therefore, I must ask the visitors and the media to kindly leave during this portion of the meeting. You, of course, may return after the Committee of Supply has concluded its business.
Motions.
I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, this is supplementary appropriation number 2, scheduled for fiscal year 2024-2025, motion 2025. I move that the Committee of Supply has met and approved the proposal set out in the sessional paper number HR 33A-114, supplementary appropriation schedule number 2 for fiscal year 2024-2025. I now seek the indulgence of this Honorable House to agree that the proposal approved by the Honorable House to agree with the proposal approved by the Committee of Supply.
Honorable members, the question is, be it resolved that this Honorable House agrees with the proposal approved by the Committee of Supply for supplementary appropriation number 2 scheduled for fiscal year 2024-2025, motion 2025. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, this is a supplementary appropriation schedule for fiscal year 2025-2026, motion 2025. I move that the Committee of Supply has met and approved the proposal set out in the sessional paper number HR 33B-114, supplementary appropriation schedule for fiscal year 2025-2026. I now seek the indulgence of this Honorable House to agree with the proposal approved by the Committee of Supply.
Honorable members, the question is, be it resolved that this Honorable House agrees with the proposal approved by the Committee of Supply for supplementary appropriation schedule for fiscal year 2025-2026, motion 2025. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, this is the Caribbean Development Bank 8 Road Project, George Price Highway, Belize City to Hattieville Loan Motion 2025. Madam Speaker, I move whereas Section 3.1 of the Loans Caribbean Development Bank Act 20, Chapter 2074 of the Substantive Laws of Belize, Revised Edition 2003, provides that subject to such conditions as may be agreed between the Government of Belize and the Caribbean Development Bank, the government may borrow from the bank from time to time such sums as may be required by the government. And whereas Section 3.2 of the said Act further provides that no agreement in respect of sums borrowed under the powers conferred by Section 3.1 shall be executed unless the terms and conditions thereof has been first approved by a resolution of the House of Representatives to that effect. And whereas the bank has offered to lend to the government of Belize the equivalent of US $34,524,000, the loan from the bank's ordinary capital resources and its special funds resources. And whereas the purpose of the loan is to provide financing for the rehabilitation and improvement of approximately 24 kilometers of the George Price Highway from Belize City to Hattieville, thereafter called the project. And whereas the project will, among other things, improve the geometry of the road to international standards, improve drainage, increase the road elevation at selected locations to enhance its resilience to climate hazards, and improve safety for all road users. The project would also finance the replacement of the Burden Canal Bridge. And whereas the loan is being offered on the following terms: from the bank's ordinary capital resources, the OCR, the US $25,982,000 to be repaid in 68 equal or approximately equal and consecutive quarterly installments commencing 5 years after the date of the loan agreement. Interest at the rate of 4.9% per annum to be paid quarterly on the outstanding OCR portion of the loan. A commitment fee of 1% to be paid quarterly on the unwithdrawn portion of the loan from time to time to accrue from the 60th day after the date of the loan agreement. From the bank's special funds resources, the SFR, from the Italian line of credit, EU 8 million EU dollars equivalent to $8,560,000 US dollars to be repaid in 68 equal or approximately equal and consecutive quarterly installments commencing 5 years after the date of the loan agreement. Interest at the rate of 1.4% per annum to be paid quarterly on the outstanding SFR portion of the loan. The loan shall be fully disbursed by 31st December 2027 or such later date as the bank may specify in writing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Honorable House, being satisfied that the loan proceeds would significantly assist the Government of Belize in its endeavor to rehabilitate the George Price Highway to improve the efficiency, safety, accessibility, and resilience of Belize's most heavily trafficked road network, approves and confirms that the Government may enter into a loan agreement with the Caribbean Development Bank on the terms and conditions set out above, and further authorizes the Minister of Finance to execute and deliver this said agreement. This has the recommendation of the Cabinet. Madam Speaker, just to add a little bit more by way of explanation. This project is the improvement, as I mentioned, of the 24-kilometer section of the George Price Highway from Belize City to Hattieville, and to improve its safety, accessibility, and efficiency in Belize. And the expected outcome of the project is improved efficiency, accessibility, safety, and resilience of the George Price Highway, again from Belize City to Hattieville. This will, among other things, improve this road to international standards. And we all travel that road, I mean, most of us several times a week, and we can see how dangerous that portion of the road has become. And we have to improve the drainage and increase the road elevations at selected locations to enhance its resilience to climate hazards and to improve safety for all road users. We know that whenever we have a big storm hitting this area, or in the Belize City area, that area is the first area that gets flooded out. And during hurricanes, many instances, Belize is cut off from this part of the country. So it's important as a minister, and I'm sure he will be able to explain more for infrastructure development, has pointed out that the amount of water now that we are having, the drains that were put in there probably about 50 years or so ago, cannot withstand that deluge that's coming through these drains and these culverts. So we have to be putting way much bigger culverts, more of them, and also raise the level of that road. Also the Burden Canal, all of us know about the Burden Canal Bridge, and many of us, we know, especially when you're coming up, you have to slow down because the slope ends up being high and then it goes down quickly right on a curve, on both sides from curves. And we know that area can be very, very dangerous, and you can easily lose control of a vehicle. That bridge was constructed in 1988, which does not meet the American Association of State Highway and Transport Officials, HL 93 Vehicular Live Road, a standard adopted by the government for all new structures on our main highways. Given that the George Price Highway is a vital transport link, and using this code for bridge designs, we have to ensure that all our bridges can safely support all these trucks with a lot of weight, with goods that they're traveling across this country. So this project provides access to the commercial center in Belize City for a high volume of high and light goods vehicles. Similarly to other highway sections, its improvement will positively impact safety, travel times, and vehicle operating costs, thereby creating improved conditions for trade, social, and economic development. This project will be implemented by MIDH through its Project Execution Unit over a 42-month period commencing November 1st, 2024 and ending April 30th, 2028. I know you refer to the 2024, but a lot of work had to be done to get to this point, and it started from way back then. So I just wanted to clarify that. So that said, Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
I recognize Leader of Opposition, Member for Albert.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. I rise this morning not to quibble over engineering designs or line markings on a highway, but to call out, Madam Speaker, in the strongest possible terms, yet another loan signing agreement that it seems that this House of Representatives has been relegated to. Madam Speaker, this is not a motion just about 15 miles of roads from Belize City to Hattieville. This, Madam Speaker, is $69 million in new debt. This, Madam Speaker, represents 22 years of repayment. And let me put that in perspective, Madam Speaker. Most students who attend primary, secondary, and even tertiary education, it doesn't take them 22 years to get through school. So imagine, Madam Speaker, that a young student who starts today, in 22 years, they will still be saddled with this debt payment. If my math is correct, this $69 million represents $4.6 million a mile. And the government comes to us in this honorable house simply expecting a nod, a clap, approval. No questions are to be asked. No information is provided, as though we are negotiating chump change, as many of us would say. This, Madam Speaker, if my information is right, and I believe it is, represents the most expensive stretches of highway the country has ever seen. And Belizeans, that's not a highway, but I hear you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, while many families, and I tell you, many families cannot meet their grocery bills, many families cannot access adequate health care. Many of our young people are not able to find decent jobs in which they can build a long-term career. While many of our medical clinics and our schools continue to be under-resourced, how do we justify spending $69 million on road infrastructure at this time? A bill, Madam Speaker, that will take us 2 decades to repay. And, Madam Speaker, let us look at the terms as they have been dressed up as quote-unquote good financing. We will receive 5 years grace period, and then we're going to make 17 years of quarterly payments, and a total, as I've said before, of 22 years of total paying back time. If, Madam Speaker, this administration does not come back to this House, as they have normally done, to defer loan commitments and kick them down the road. Madam Speaker, the concern is that this $69 million loan motion that is before us is not happening in a vacuum. While I'm sure we will get to the robust debate on the Supplemental Appropriation Bill 2526. This administration has come back to this National Assembly 1 quarter since the budget was approved to ask for an additional $131 million in expenditure. But I'll get to that when we get to that debate. Madam Speaker, motion after motion after motion, sitting after sitting after sitting, this government comes to this House asking for another big ticket project and another grand announcement. More long-term obligations, very little transparency, and weak accountability. There's no comprehensive picture presented to this House of the total debt impact, the cumulative annual debt service, the risks this poses if there is a downturn in our economy, which we are already experiencing, if there is a hurricane of the magnitude that Jamaica just experienced, or if there's any shock to the way of life for Belizeans. We cannot treat this lone motion, Madam Speaker, as though Parliament does not have a responsibility to act in the best interest of the people of this country as it relates to cumulative debt. Madam Speaker, the opposition will not be complicit in turning this House meeting and all the other House meetings that we've been into as a House meeting to approve additional debt that will be carried on the backs of future generations. Madam Speaker, this motion speaks in glowing terms about the project. It will improve the geometry of the highway. It will enhance the drainage. It will raise the elevation. It will improve safety. And it will replace the Burden Canal Bridge. I ask, how many lives will be saved as a result? There are no details provided about the safety measures that will be put in place. Measures like signs and reflectors, lighting, or even more importantly, a public awareness campaign. How will this $69 million serve to support the implementation of monitoring and oversight over existing road safety regulations? How many small farmers, Madam Speaker, or small tour operators will be able to do business, to carry out their tours, or to get their produce to market without having to bear the burden of the highest cost of infrastructure inputs? So I ask this Honorable House and to the members on the government side, please provide the loan agreement with the Caribbean Development Bank. Please provide the project appraisal report. Please provide the detailed cost breakdown showing how much will be for actual pavement, how much for the bridge, how much has been allocated for consultancy and supervision, how much for contingencies, and how much interest the people of Belize will pay over the life of this loan agreement. Why is this House being asked, Madam Speaker, to approve $69 million, base $69 million? I say that again, $69 million, based on a one-page motion and few generalities, when the technical and financial details are locked away somewhere, either in cabinet or in the office of the Ministry of Finance. If this project is such a good deal, if this project, Madam Speaker, is absolutely necessary at this time, why hasn't the government put all the facts on the table? Is this project, I ask, truly a carefully designed national priority? I ask because I don't understand the secrecy. I don't understand the failure to provide documents relating to this project. I don't understand, Madam Speaker, why there has been no clear value for money analysis before we're asked to vote on another mega loan commitment with the Caribbean Development Bank. So yes, we will say that road infrastructure work is important. We can agree that replacing a bridge is important, but Belizeans have a right to know whether we are getting maximum value for such an investment and whether every mile is being built for the people when we're asking citizens to repay this debt up to 2040. The motion, Madam Speaker, says that this project will improve resilience, improve drainage, raise elevation, and improve safety. And we have heard this all before. We have seen, Madam Speaker, roads designed with quote-unquote international standards fall apart within a few years because the drains are not clean, shoulders are not maintained, and overloaded trucks that continue to pound the pavement are not held responsible. Let me be clear. We're not against roads. We're not against climate resilience. We're not against borrowing when it is absolutely necessary and truly beneficial and well managed. What we are against, Madam Speaker, is when we continue to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow, knowing that these commitments will lie on the backs of our children. So on behalf of the people of Belize, Madam Speaker, I say that the opposition will not be partners to a governance style that says, trust us, when details are scanty and there's a growing mistrust by those we represent in the way the government conducts the people's affairs and manages the public purse. Madam Speaker, we were entrusted by the people of Belize as the King's loyal opposition to safeguard their interests, secure their future, and ensure that our government remains accountable. On this motion, Madam Speaker, unless the relevant information is provided to us for review and scrutiny, the only responsible answer we have as an opposition is to say that we cannot support the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Before I recognize you, member, I just want to do a reminder to all members. It's Standing Order 35-6. I kindly ask that we respect it if we're going to read more than we refer, just to, on the courtesy of the House, to inform the Speaker if you can refer to your notes. That would be Standing Order 35-6. I recognize the member for Corozal North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To refer to my notes, Madam Speaker, this morning we have been asked to approve a loan of $69 million for 14.9 miles of road and the bridge. According to what we have heard, Madam Speaker, this loan motion has the kind of extraordinary expenses, extraordinary costs, particularly for the aspect of climate resilience. And Madam Speaker, in referring to this particular loan motion, I want to go back to what we have seen in Corozal. And I want to refer to two particular areas where we have huge concerns. One, and I will refer to the Pueblo Nuevo Bridge. Accordingly, the bridges that we have now seen and the bridges that are now being built, these are built to international standards. I think it was referred to some US standard that we are now building bridges. Madam Speaker, that stretch of road from Corozal to Sartaneja has two bridges. The one normally referred to as the Pueblo Nuevo, I would think they would call it the bridge now, and the Laguna Seca bridge. Pueblo Nuevo Bridge, Madam Speaker, is part of that project that has been inaugurated just, I think it was just prior to the general elections of that we had some 8-9 months ago. That was inaugurated. Part of the problem that we have seen, Madam Speaker, is that that bridge, and I'm referring to the Pueblo Nuevo Bridge, Madam Speaker, is sinking. It has sunk and it has kept sinking. No, when you look at what we're being asked this morning, $69 million for one bridge and 14.9 miles of road, one has to question, where are we adopting this? Where are we adopting these standards? Because if we are building roads, if we are building bridges, and it hasn't been an year yet, and we are now looking at the structural failures, one has to question, where is all the guarantees, where are all the costs, where are all the study analysis reflected on the product that we are now seeing. That leads me to another situation that we have, and I take this dearly because Corozal North has this stretch of road known as the Remate Road, Madam Speaker. This Remate Road was inaugurated on May 8, 2024. We're barely into 18 months after this road was built, and we're seeing some structural failures again. So when we hear about roads being built for structural, that have the added component of climate resilience, one has to ask if additional monies are being allocated for these climate resilient roads. Where are we seeing this? We are not feeling the effects of these roads on the ground, and so we have to understand that while yes, the climate is changing and it has been posing some extraordinary challenges to every particular country, we have to understand that this administration has adopted mechanisms to ensure that whatever we build on the ground has the necessary measures for us to be able to mitigate the impact of what we're facing today, but that is not something that we're seeing on the ground. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the member for Mesopotamia.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, and it's a sight for sore eyes. I love to see you in that seat. I want to welcome you first to say welcome, because I know you're going to put the hammer down in his house. That true? Madam Speaker, I rise to bring my concerns on the CDB 8 road project, George Price Highway, Belize City to Hatterville. And please allow me to refer to my notes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a $69 million loan to rehabilitate, improve, enhance resilience to climate hazards, improve safety, and to replace the Burden Bridge. No mention about infrastructure, the hot mix, or probably they miss it out. The Burden Bridge, to my knowing and using it over the years, is not bad. I'm no engineer, but it's left to be stand corrected, but it's usable. And you know where you see now coffee, right? If you're not broke, why you fix it for? Why you change it? And it still got some more years left in it. So why we was to spend for sake? The burden.
Please, let's respect the 42B standing order. Proceed, Member for Mesopotamia.
Yes, Madam Speaker, thank you. And please, I would love that you would definitely enforce that standing order more often. The Burden Canal Bridge was first built in the 1920s and named after the Governor, Sir John Alder Burden. If I recall right, it was also replaced with a brand new bridge in the 1990s. The road from Belize City to Hatterville is fairly decent and drivable for at least a couple more years. I do admit the shoulder needs a little patch up, but definitely it shouldn't cost $69 million. And there no even hot mix they are used, Madam Speaker. There no hot mix. And there's no mention about hot mix or the details. The road from La Democracia to Bamapan for 40% money secured was $26 million. plus the next 56% of the money is still pending in limbo. Madam Speaker, the road from La Democracia to Belmopan will be revamped with wider shoulders, safety measures, race for climate resilience, and the famous hot mix, and all the bells and whistles to justify $3 million a mile cost. Oh yes, they have a bridge there too, so it's pretty much the same because they have a bridge there too, so the costing should be roughly the same. Madam Speaker, there was a similar road with 4 lanes built in Belize City from the Belcan Bridge roundabout to the Buttonwood Bay Boulevard for $2.4 million a mile. Hot mix, 4 lane, so that's pretty wide. And yes, the road got all the bells and whistles to justify the $2.4 million cost. Oh, just a summary, Madam Speaker. Belcan to Buttonwood Bay Boulevard roundabout, $2.4 million a mile. La Democracia to Belmopan, $3 million a mile. Belize City to Hatterville, $4.6 million a mile, Madam Speaker. My God, that person who did the estimation must really, overestimate something, or some zeros or something gone wrong. It makes me wonder sometimes if this is a part of the package for retirement for the guys, Madam Speaker, please don't see a pattern already. More big roads, more big contracts, more millions in loans. Meanwhile, communities, they take lick, drains can't take rain, people debacle for cost of living. Cost of living is through the roof. The youths need help, schools need for fix. But the government and MIDH only wants infrastructure projects one after the next. Majority of the projects in Belize recently is hot mix highways and bridges. Let me remind this government and MIDH, Belize City still drowns after a 15-minute rain. A lot of roads still needs to be fixed. Drains they clog up, people they suffer. And the government and the MIDH will come to this honorable House, Madam Speaker, and ask for $69 million for widen, patch up 15 miles of highway. I hear that they said they're probably making it a 4-lane to it, so yes. This is reckless borrowing and spending, Madam Speaker. Every time the MIDH brings a big project, we all hear the good talk, the frills, the bells, the whistles, the climate resilience, the development, the safety. We all agree with that. But my concern, Madam Speaker, is why it costs $69 million. $4.6 million a mile, But when we ask for the documents and explanation, many people are not forthcoming. And yet, when we stand up here sometimes, and we, of course, we're the king's opposition, the other side will get up and jump up and say, you don't understand, or throw some harsh remarks, or probably compare with to the past administrations will do wrong, or do right, or whatever the case is. What has been done has been done. Right now, it's you guys over the side that has the mandate. You guys need to set the example. Not because you get done before, are you wrong or you right, and now today you can justify your wrong and right doings. Where is the feasibility study? Where are the cost-benefit reports there? The drainage designs, engineer assessment, procurement plans, who they're on the tender list? Let the people of Belize know and stop treating Belizeans like we do not know better. Everybody knows who the MIDH project benefits. They're not the poor people. There are only a handful of people, Madam Speaker. They're not the single mothers on the south side. They're not the farmers who can't reach the market. than other youths where they look for the job. Who benefit? They're the same circle of people who always get the big contracts. Same people. Belizeans, Madam Speaker, they ask, now who are eating for this one? Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, the government seems obsessed with pouring concrete and hot mix instead of investing into Belizeans. Over $400 million in works over the last 4 years. And yet, they cut on defense, border security, health, financing is flat, immigration, they cut classrooms for teachers. Classrooms are leaking, Madam Speaker. Water system failing in rural Belize. But somehow, the priority is another highway project on a decent stretch that needs TLC, $10. I know it needs some help, it needs some patch up and some work, but not $69 million. With that money, Belize could build schools, fully modernize the Belize city water system, and not implement that 13% rate hike that should go on our water bills very soon. Equip our police with vehicles, radios, technology for combat more crime. Fund border security that government currently is cutting. Upgrade public hospitals and regional clinics. Imagine if the same money was spent on Belizeans instead of another set of road and bridge contracts. CDB may approve the loan, but Belizeans will have to repay it, every single dollar. Government of Belize and the MIDH, they borrow fast, and they spend it even faster, Madam Speaker. They spend it very fast. The whole country, they see what happened, Madam Speaker. Announce a big project, rush the loan through the House, none to minimal documentation, no public info or consultation. This that the government and MIDH trademark. This that the government and MIDH culture. Explain to Belize how this helped the real people. Explain to the woman who can't buy groceries. Explain to the man where they hustle every day. Explain to the youths who can't get jobs. Explain to the farmers where they sink in the mud because those back roads are literally mud. Explain to the schools where they leak when it rains. Government and MIDH can't explain because this project, no make for them things. This project is designed to benefit few, very few people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I recommend no more mega loans without full documentation, public scrutiny, real accountability, independent engineering review, proper cost-benefit study. Defer this loan motion right now till we get these things, and make the government and MIDH bring the documents and the paperwork. Make the public see everything. Make the Auditor General and the independent engineers look on it. If the project's solid, Madam Speaker, bring it back to the House, and we, the opposition, will definitely help fast-track it and support its passage through this honorable House. We don't got no problem with progress, Madam Speaker. That's just how they do it. Madam Speaker, Belizeans fed up and tired. Belizeans tired at the constant borrowing. Tired at only the fixed highways. Tired at the same contractors. Tired at the same excuses. Tired at the same disrespect. Madam Speaker, the government just allocated $14.7 million for the George Price Highway 2025. It's right there in the budget book. I got a page to if you need to see it. And $15.5 million for 2026. So that another what? Let me do the math right here. $31 million between this year and next year, plus another $69 million, Madam Speaker. And then we have the La Democracia project where we'll come out to another $56 million. That's a lot of money, Madam Speaker. Our debt to GDP ratio as of 2025, according to the MIF, hangs around 64 to 67%. The blue bond restructure saw savings. The Petro-Caribe saw savings of $258 million. And yet today, we're worse off. We don't borrow all of that. Talk about Petro-Caribe. Petro-Caribe saw $258 million savings with a write-off. With this $69 million loan from the CDB at 4.9% interest rate, our GDP will soon be through the roof, Madam Speaker. My grandkids, and I don't have none yet, will still be paying for all of this. This specific loan, not really that cheap, 4.9%. I like the 1.4% though. I wish the whole loan had 1.4%. Make it more easier for swallow. If I could do it too here, Prime Minister, wow, pasam, shazam. But sometimes also, it's best to invest in your people, Madam Speaker, and not only invest in infrastructures and highways. Madam Speaker, the government loves to say these loans are concessional, but concessional is not concessional. Debt is debt, and it must still be repaid by Belizeans who are already struggling. Don't forget, Madam Speaker, we just bundle, kick the bucket down the road for the consolidation of Taiwan loans, I think roughly about $100 million for January 2026. We could borrow more for build and refurbish highways, but we can't borrow to own BEL and the hydro dam, which gives us a rate of return of 12 to 14% interest rate. This government just not make sense, Madam Speaker. But I hear from Ali Bird that probably the Social Security buy it no more. And there's some other people who will buy it. But when that time comes, we know when to get the full documentation, Madam Speaker. I really, really wish that this dam goes back into the hands of Belizeans and that the Social Security will get majority of it.
Wait, member, we're on a specific loan motion. It doesn't involve a dam.
Yeah, but this also includes the loans that we are borrowing. But I will move along. Madam Speaker, borrowing is not a sin. Borrowing without vision, without transparency, and without national values is reckless. Belize needs a plan, not a bunch of loans. Belize needs investment in people, not another slab of hot mix. Madam Speaker, the people of Belize is watching everything the government is doing and is just waiting for the first opportunity to send a loud and clear message that we put Uno Day. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Pate, just the mic, it contributes to the, I recognize the member for Cayo South.
Hey, morning, Madam Speaker. My daughter has convinced me to get into yoga. I'll read it. Hey, remind me again this morning. He said in yoga philosophy that calm is not about controlling the external world. It is about cultivating inner peace by turning inward through practices like asana, breathwork, and meditation. Thank you, Iha. It's important. Let's go back in history a little bit. I keep hearing here that three members are speaking about, Prime Minister, about accountability and transparency and that we don't share information with them. But the last administration had to be taken to court because they spent $1.5 billion and refused to bring any information to court. I must say, illegally too, Madam Speaker, because it is against the law. It is a criminal offense to not bring these loans requests. You don't only have to bring the loan request, you have to bring the loan request when you don't sign the contract. You have to bring as permission to spend the money. It's a whole process. And we have tediously come...
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, what the gentleman from
what's the
Kai
point
South
of
is
order?
saying, it has nothing to do with the bridge or the loan, Madam Speaker. Has nothing to do with it. Thank you.
Point noted. Please remember in a debate, if you raise a particular point and it has been allowed, the other side who gets up to contribute would want to counter or address. I believe you're on a matter of transparency because it was raised.
I don't ask the gentleman how much MSG he put in a fried chicken when he sell it. I don't, because I'm not a fried chicken specialist. But I am a professional that understands infrastructure work. Therefore, I can speak on it. And I am a politician that has been here before government and during government, and therefore the history speaks for itself. The UDP government under the leadership of the Honorable Dean Barrow did not bring to this House $1.5 billion of expenditure, and it was done illegally so. I'm just reminding you when you speak about not having transparency and accountability, Madam Speaker. It is just to clarify what they had been mentioning. So, let's go back into history, past and present. The road that is from Corozal to Sarteneja, a value of $50 million US, $100 million US, signed under the UDP government. The design and the supervision and the construction was and is being done by OECC, which is a Taiwanese company. That is one of the only projects in this country that has a design-build formula built into it. We, honorably so, came into government and continued with the specifications of the project. $100 million, Hugo. Sorry, and then we go to the Caracol Road. $140 million Belize dollars. Again, signed under the United Democratic Party government, and we honored the contract and we honored the specification. We adjusted a bit to the end because we had that opportunity, and we saved $25 million. What did we do with the $25 million savings, Madam Speaker? Well, the portion of the George Price Highway from San Ignacio to Benque is a product of that savings. And so now, I don't know which one, 103, came up here and said, the George Price Highway is not a priority project. How can you say that's not a priority project when the Caracol was done before? When Corozal to Sarteneja was done before, under your tenure? When the George Price Highway is the most trafficked highway in this entire country, and we have the statistics to prove it. It is the main artery from Belize City, the commercial center of this country, to Belmopan, the political center of this country. If they would come to work, they would use that every day. I don't know if they do. But we do. Maybe they did in the past. But it is used. It is the most important highway that this country has. Anybody that has any sense when driving that highway will complain. There is not enough shoulder. In fact, there is no shoulders because it has been eaten out. There is no line markings because it's at a deplorable state. Accidents happen over and over and over. Do you remember when RFG used to put up the old truck on a post where say, please drive carefully, because people abuse the highway? That project, no matter what you say, you can never convince anybody in this country that it is not important. And you can never convince anybody in this country that it is not the most important highway that we have. Apart from just going to Belmopan. BSI has changed their whole philosophy now. They are transporting the cane from the north all the way through the George Price Highway, going through the coastal, going to the Southern Highway until they reach the port. That is a part of driving an economy. What does infrastructure do? Infrastructure is one of the basic tools that a country needs to drive its economy. Go back in history into the United States after the World War, Madam Speaker, when President Eisenhower decided that he would build the freeways of the United States to drive the economy after the World War. Look at the positive effects it has made on the American economy, and that's just one example. China, Japan, Taiwan, any country that you go to, we have a great tourism package led by a great minister. But people come and they need to make sure that they get where they need to get to and that it is safe. Our producers have to use that highway to be able to take their products to market. We have the port project now, which adds additional importance to the project. Why are we investing in the George Price Highway Rehabilitation? And I'll explain the project. I know it doesn't matter to them, but it matters to the Belizean people. The George Price Rehabilitation Project is made of 5 blocks. 3 of them being financed by loans, and 2 of them being grants. The first one, I'll go back, block 5, which is from Belmopan to Democracia, is being financed through the Kuwaiti Fund. The second one, which we are asking loan agreements on, is between Democracia and Hattieville. We are seeking financing from the OPEC fund, which normally comes through after Kuwait makes the first move. We are nearly guaranteed that it will come. The third one is CDB, which is the one we have here, which is Hattieville to Belize City. The fourth one is the Belcan Bridge, which is a grant from the government of Taiwan. And the fifth one is Swing Bridge, which is also a grant from the government of Japan. Those are the 5 projects that make up the George Price Rehabilitation Project. I don't make no bushla over here to tell about no feasibility study, no environmental. These international financial institutions do not lend loans if you do not provide the necessary documentation and studies. All of those studies are there. All of those studies are there. If you want to come to my office, I have asked Corozal North representative umpteens of times, maybe 15 times in this house, come to the ministry, come and look at the book, but you're lazy, you don't want to do your work, you stay in Corozal, hiding in your cane field. Come to the office.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order. On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
The point of order.
That.
Wait, 1 second. One second. What's the point of order?
You're not funny, Prime Minister. Even when you try to be, you're not funny. You're certainly not funny.
Leader of Opposition, what's the point of order?
That has nothing to do, Madam Speaker. That outburst by the member for Cayo South has nothing to do with the loan motion. And I ask you, Madam Speaker, that we ask the representative to focus on the loan motion. Thank you.
Member for Cayo South, I will remind you and all members that we do not refer to other members in derogatory or insulting manner. When I ask what's the point of order, I don't expect members to quote specifically, but at least to give the gist. It's not really about the outburst. My concern is just the language being used. I'll also ask your indulgence so that we can dispense with the 12 o'clock hour standing order just for a few minutes.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 12.8, I move that the proceedings on the order paper may be entered upon and proceeded with at this day's sitting at any hour due opposed.
Honorable members, the question is that the proceedings on the order paper may be entered upon and proceeded with at this day's sitting at any hour though opposed. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. Member for Kaya South.
As I mentioned this morning before I started, I am a novice in the yoga thing, so I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. Can one use hypocrisy in this house, Madam Speaker? I'm just asking. Is that an acceptable term?
It's not about the choice of words in most cases. It's about the directing of language to your colleagues that is insulting and unparliamentary.
I'm learning every day. Madam Speaker, how do you call a person, anybody, that comes and says something, you give him the opportunity to look at all the information over and over and over again. You invite him to where the source of information is. He refuses to come, comes back into an environment similar to this, and repeats and repeats and repeats the same remarks. Isn't that a hypocritical type of action? If the hat, where Bob Marley is it? If the hat fit, wear it. But let's look at, I'll go down. Don Membro de Corozal North says, we're having problem with Pueblo Nuevo bridge sinking. That's an erroneous statement. In fact, I would wish that he would say that outside. I would just, that would be a beautiful thing for him to say that outside of the steps of the National Assembly. That is an erroneous statement. Now, we have experience in the Sarteneja Road project, a section of approximately 400 meters, and it is there right now, that has a problem similar to what we are experiencing in Belize City to the Halova Bridge. The section from Belize City to the Halova Bridge. It is also experienced on the Chetomal Street road that the UDP built before the election. It is the same problem. It is a similar problem that we are facing on the Western Highway, leaving Old Belize towards the Burton Canal. These areas have a significant depth of peat. What is peat? Peat is mud, organic material that rots with centuries. More than that sometimes. The engineers from OECC have tried to use 2 or 3 different methods to be able to try to see if that peat can resist the road that is being built there. They have not been successful in that 400 meters. So our engineers from MIDH, along with the engineers from OECC, along with other foreign independent engineers, have come up with a proposal for that 400 meters that we might have to pilot and cast it as if it was a causeway, because there is no other option. We are aware of the fact. This is engineering. You encounter these things as you go along, but it is part of the defects liability. It is part, and that's why I mentioned the design build project. It is a project that was approved by the United Democratic Party on the basis of a design build concept. The contractor that won the bid designed it, supervised it, and is building it with MIDH's general supervision. So I am giving you a clear and a concise explanation to what you are saying, and what you have said is wrong. When you paint over them, you say it. It is wrong. Accept when you're wrong. You could be wrong, you could be ignorant to the fact, you could be many things, but it is wrong. Then, the Remate Road. May I remind you that that's our next road that was done under your government's leadership. So you're seeing a lot of millions where MIDH has on their budget is an inheritance of what you left. Majority of them. The Sarteneja Road, the Remate Road, the Caracol Road, all of those. And I have no shame in saying that we are honorable on this side. We never fire the contractors. We just made sure that they do it to the specification that is required. And some redesigns to save money. So let's get to road infrastructure. And I refer a little bit to my notes, Madam Speaker. Road infrastructure boosts economies by initiating trade, by creating jobs. So not going to tell me you just spend the money and only one or two people benefit from it. How can you say that, member from Mesopotamia, when you have an infrastructure project that goes through communities? Everybody has an opportunity to work during the lifetime of the construction. And then after that, everybody has an opportunity to benefit from the use of the project. You cannot run a country without this. We got like 3,000 miles of road in the entire country that we have to be dealing with. And then they come here and tell me that we not maintain the road. That just, I want to say the word, but I can't say it because it's unparliamentary. Yoga, yes. Inner peace. You know about that, right? Inner peace. Madam Speaker, MIDH has been the only ministry, I would like to say, in the history that has concentrated on maintenance of our highways. We chop the side of the highways with bush hog, we pick up the garbage, we clean the drains. That it is not enough? Of course it's not enough. But we do it. We do it every day, 24 hours a day, during the rain, during the sun, during storm. When there is a storm in Belize City, a hurricane, who do they call, Prime Minister? MIDH is there. When they have a problem in the garbage dumps, who do they call? MIDH is there. When the municipalities need assistance and it is not part of our mandate, who do they call? MIDH is there. MIDH works for everyone. So now can't tell me that we do not maintain. That is rhetoric. That is unprofessional. That is trying to use politics to just brush it aside. When I speak on the basis of factual truths. I don't make it up. And you might not like my tone, leader of the opposition. I can understand that. And I apologize if my tone is a little bit higher than you would like it to be. But that's who I am. I am who I am. So, let's look at this section that you are saying from Belize City to Hattieville. We have a problem, and one of the members over there mentioned Belize City floods when you have a major rain. Yeah, it floods, but can you answer this question? How fast does it take for the floodwaters to recede compared to how fast it used to recede in the past? You know, analyze that. Yes, you're going to flood because Belize City, if you don't know, member from Mesopotamia, is below water level, sea level. It is a fact. Belize City is not on a mountainous area. It is not inland. It is below sea level, and therefore we do have that problem that we have to address. So what this specific project is one of the possible solutions to minimize. I'm not saying completely stop it. It will never completely stop. But you try to minimize it. How will we minimize it? We are trying to minimize it by draining that section of the highway that you can alleviate the water coming down the Burton Canal. Before it reaches the city, we'll have a way to escape out to the sea, approximately in the area by Old Belize. That will entail, we now call it bridges, but it is a series of box culverts, a series of drainage to be able to drain that water from the Burton Canal all the way to the sea. The same problem happens in Hattieville. Yes, sir? Without going to Belize City. It will be a 3 to 4 lane highway in certain sections. Why? Because if we would have wanted to do a 4 lane highway all the way from Belize City to, it would have costed maybe 3 to 4 times more than this budget because government would have had to acquire land. So what we have done is create passing lanes on both sides where applicable, where necessary, and where it doesn't cost us as much money to be able to go to the Minister of Natural Resources and make him get the headache to find out how much money it take to acquire land to be able to do a 4-lane highway. With time, I believe the country will get there. Madam Speaker, it is a highway to be built of hot mix. Member for Messop, it is a hot mix project. It is a hot mix project mixed with concrete sections. I am also inviting you, if you want to come look at the documentation, I will inform the chief engineer that whenever you come, you can have a look at it. I won't extend the invitation to the member from Kaya North anymore, because it's useless and futile to do so. Correct. Burton Canal Bridge. The man say, where the man say? The man say, touch up the bridge and leave it. That way I understand you say, touch up the bridge and leave it, you know, that's not a problem. Madam Speaker, I have been personally under the Burton Canal Bridge, and that is where you analyze bridges. It is at a point where the bridge structurally has flexed. What does flexion in concrete mean? It is at the maximum point where it can fail. You don't see that driving over it. So if you want, I can also make arrangements for you to go under the bridge. In this case, you don't need a boat. Just walk on the side and look up. I know you were concentrating on the fish and not on the bridge. Because the gentleman said he used to fish there. Fine. I hope that our fish will use with the Shengwang sauce. Madam Speaker, I am just replying to him. I am replying to him that you cannot make statements that are false without having proper information that can back it up. And that's all I am doing, just rectifying the truth. The man say the portion of the road from Inabeli City we just resealed from the roundabout to more or less where Brody's is, approximately in the Belama area. Costs X amount of money and you compare it to this. You can't compare it, Madam Speaker. That's just a resealing. A resealing means you brush the highway, you clean it of all residue, and then you apply another asphalt on top, in this case hot mix. It is totally different than building a new highway. So there's no way you could compare it. Like when my granny used to say you can't compare apples and oranges, you can't. It is not the same. And so again, it is an erroneous statement being made from the other side. Now, I think it was the member from Albert, the leader of the opposition, that says we do everything in secrecy. How can it be done in secrecy, Madam Speaker, where this project, the initial phases of it, we started the design in 2021. I would like you to ask the clerk to give you how many times I have stood in this house explaining that project.